Hello, Sandshark fans, and welcome to an edition of Media Day. We're with men's golf, Cory Cottrell and JT. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Doing well.
So let's get into it. So, 4 events in the fall. It was funny because I was talking with Cory about it. Finished third in all of them. That's pretty ironic. I know that they kind of finished at the end of the year with the Coastal Georgia trip. Set yourself up to be in that top. But before we dive into that, JT, talk about the fall, your fall as well as the team's.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I would say for our team, we didn't really play as well as we could have, but finishing third in all of them, I think we have a lot of potential for the next semester.
So it's kind of difficult because it is a spring sport, technically with golf. But a lot of individuals, you had some low scores. You found yourselves in the 60s. A lot of new faces, and that's been kind of the big key this year. Can you talk about those new faces and how they kind of gelled so far?
Yeah, I think we got along really well right off the start. Having a couple of Canadians on the team is always good. We gel pretty well together. But I think for them, it's more so just getting more college rounds under their belt, getting more comfortable throughout the season. So I think next semester is going to be really good.
And kind of elaborate a little bit more, kind of how you thought those new newbies kind of gelled with the upperclassmen here, and then getting their first taste of college golf.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely it took a couple events for a couple of our freshmen to get their feet underneath them. For how we're set up as a team, Innisbrook, it was one of those courses that set up really great for us. So we were able to not have our best golf there and still finish third in a really strong field. And then it shows our development at the courses throughout the semester, where at the end down at Coastal, where it's not really a great golf course for us, but we still were able to post a really solid result, and that's just how we've come through the semester.
And so, like I said, 4 tournaments in the fall. I kind of want to talk a little bit about last year. It was COVID shortened. You got still a good many tournaments under your belt, but I know we talked about it in the Sandshark podcast, but for those that didn't catch that, talk about like your training regimen during that spring and that whole summer, and then also kind of how it related, because y'all had a big month and a half kind of off.
Yeah, so, I mean, we couldn't really do a lot during quarantine when I got back home. It was kind of just hitting balls into a mat, into a net. But once I was able to get out there, you're grinding every single day, trying to gain confidence, getting ready for the fall semester, and I think it went pretty well. But yeah.
Cory, kind of elaborate. Did you have something as from a coach perspective that you said, hey, guys, this is kind of what you need to focus on. This is some different techniques that you can use. I know it's going to be hard being in-house, playing an outside sport. And what were kind of different difficulties with that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we wanted to hit on was any technical changes that we really needed to do. You can do those technical changes inside and build those repetitions. So when we got our athletes all over the world, no matter where they're at in terms of different stages of lockdown and what they can and can't do, really took that time to really hone in those technical changes. So when they get out here, we can just transfer into all performance work.
So something that was kind of unique about this year, and it affected a little bit more of you, JT, but the fact that you had to play with your teammates as opposed to the other ones, the other twos. The fall, you kind of got a glimpse of it. Is it a different mindset you have to take? I know you get to play with those guys, but you're not competing against those number ones.
It does. It takes a little bit to get used to, because you're not really competing against your teammates per se, but you're trying to, I guess, just stay locked in and worry about yourself. You're not really focused on what your teammates are doing, kind of thing. It's just trying to post a really low number.
And then kind of from a hosting perspective, there's a couple of local tournaments. Can you talk about the challenges COVID has brought, as well as just like playing with teams, the individual, the testing? And Cory, you can kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where even in the testing, we're really fortunate, and this is that double-edged sword of COVID, where we have to do the testing. We're playing in a lot of NCAA Division I events here early in the spring, so each comes with tests. And also we're getting those opportunities because a lot of the schools are not traveling from up north. So we got that really cool opportunity to play some local events as a team against some really great competition. So it's one of those where we can take it as a pain or we can run with it. And I think we're doing a really good job running with it so far.
And he led me into my next question. A lot of D1 events. That's USCB's had a lot of tradition in beating D1 teams. What's your kind of mindset? Is it exciting, kind of going against these big D1 teams? What's your thoughts, JT?
Yeah, I think it's definitely exciting. We get to compete against some of the top players in the country. And actually, my freshman year, we went down to Savannah Harbor, which we're going back again. We ended up winning that tournament. So, I mean, I think just because we're NAI doesn't mean that we can't compete with the Division I teams.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just the score at the end of the day. I mean, any 5 golfers can kind of go to it. So let's talk about a little bit more of those local tournaments. You're starting out at Georgia Southern, an individual event that's different mindset as well. You're thinking about yourself as opposed to your team. Of course, you're cheering on your teammates when you go and play, but let's talk about the individual tournament. How does that change, or does it?
I mean, it doesn't really change all that much. I think at the end of the day, it's golf. You're going to try and go out and post a low number. But I think it's good that it's a Division I event and we don't have to worry about where we place. It's kind of just a getting back into things kind of sort of deal. So I think it's really exciting and I can't wait.
And then let's talk about the scheduling side of it, Cory. Kind of a unique schedule this year.
Yep.
You put a lot of time and effort into it. What was your logic of the individual tournaments and then going into Georgia and these different locations and down into Florida? What's your thoughts on the scheduling process?
Yeah, I think JT hit on it perfect. It's a really good way to build experience and to get the spring started with the individual event. We got a couple freshmen playing in that too, to really build up, to build on the last fall. And then going into our Division I event that's hosted at Oldfield, and then the Division I event at Savannah Harbor. I'm looking to play the best competition possible. I want to go in and play against the best. To know that we can go and win against the best is what we're looking to do as a program. And then that also translates to our NAIA schedule between us, Point University, and Dalton State's tournament that we're going to. They're incredibly strong fields for any level. So it was based entirely on strength of tournament and where the best golfer is going to be, and I feel like we fit perfectly into those fields.
And then JT, you're no new member to go into postseason action. The Sun Conference tournament is in Pooler, right down the road at Savannah Quarters. You're familiar with the course. How does that help you, knowing the layout of the course and how to play specific holes?
Yeah, I think it definitely makes it a lot more comfortable for me, and I guess Dawson, he's also played there, so I think we'll be able to kind of tell our teammates, how to play the course, where to hit it, where to miss it, kind of thing. So I guess the experience is really helpful.
And then this is a question for both of you. We'll start with you, JT. Looking at this spring schedule, do you have individual goals for where you're standing, and then also have y'all talked about team standards and where y'all want to be?
I think for myself, I want to try and get into that top 10. I think it's possible, but I'm going to have to put a lot of hard work in and dedicate myself to that. As a team, I would say we can reach that top 5 in the country. I think we're 12th right now, so a couple good tournaments and we'll be right there.
And Cory, what's your kind of thoughts from the team side of it?
Yeah, I think for the team side is that every event we go to, our intention is to win that event and then take what we can in terms of strengths and weaknesses from that event, going against the best fields and with that best competition, really local or nationally, to see what we can to compete against the best teams.
So to kind of wrap it up, let's kind of get a little bit technical in golf. We always talk about the strengths and weaknesses, and I'm interested to pick your brain. What do you think is the kind of the strengths of the team right now, and where do you see yourself as a weakness in what y'all go and work out day to day out at Oldfield?
So I think one of our strongest suits is probably we hit the ball pretty far. I think we can take advantage of a lot of courses that suit our game, where it's a little shorter course, we can really take advantage of that. But one of the spots that we have to work on is our wedges, for sure. Because if we're hitting the ball far, we have a wedge in. Typically an easy shot, but we haven't been able to capitalize on that so far. So I think that will be one of the main focuses this semester.
So let's talk about the wedge in the short game, Cory. Practice side of it, how do you kind of get these guys, because and you hit the nail on the head. He said y'all hit the ball far, and then the short game's kind of been an area of concern. But going into a practice schedule, looking at that short game being like, all right, these 100 to 80 yards out to just off the green, how do you work with those guys and get those repetitions in?
Yeah, I would say a lot of stuff we're doing right now almost entirely is performance based, and how we can transfer our practice so that the first time we're out there on the golf course, you have whatever yardage you need, you're able to put together the right shot for that. It's not so much technical work at this point, but being able to, the first time you want to do something, what are ways you can get that done?
Absolutely. So we're excited to see y'all come out here, hopefully get a couple team dubs, definitely some individuals. I foresee a lot of those this fall, but we're excited that men's golf is coming back. Hopefully COVID doesn't have any issues with that one again, but we're excited to see y'all back. Get started this weekend with an individual at Georgia Southern. We'll host the home tournament in early March, and then we'll come back with Savannah Quarters for the Sun Conference. So come out, Old Field, Savannah Quarters right down the road, and support your men's golf team. We appreciate you tuning in. Fins up.